Hello guys and welcome to this now 5th episode of How to Go Pro. Today on the show we have Dimi. Now if you do not know Dimi is a 2 times world champion. He's a former player of NRG, right? The notorious NRG Season 2 and Season 3. Dimi now works as an, what's it called, Dimi? A
marketing intern.
Exactly, intern. I was trying to say insider or something, but I guess intern is the word. For Hirez currently. So Dimi's perspective, right, is going to be the ex-pro player's perspective. Maybe pro player again, who knows? We might ask you that, Dimi. You might want to get ready for that.
Sure.
Further in. But yeah, I think Dimi is definitely one of the most accomplished pros in the scene. One of the 5 most accomplished, because that's just energy, right? And I'm looking forward to how much knowledge and insight you can bring to the show, because you guys obviously have had some roller coasters from like the Panthera days when you guys didn't qualify in the spring split, and then to like Season 4 was also kind of like a roller coaster, I guess, compared to like winning 2 world championships. So you've been through it all, and I'm just happy to have you here, Dimi. So how are you feeling today? You feeling good?
Yeah, I'm doing really good. Thank you for having me on the show as well. Hopefully I can give you a lot of insight on what you want to know. Hopefully I can answer the questions, and yeah, just glad to be on the show. Thank you.
Yep. And if you're new to the show, again, How to Go Pro is basically this series where we talk about what it takes to go pro. We look at these different perspectives. Right now we have the ex-pro player's perspective, we've had the organization perspective, we have had the coach perspective, the analyst perspective, and we're gonna have the caster's perspective, the player perspective. We have a lot of different things. So now today it's Dimi, and Dimi, let's just start off with the classic question. So you're like, as I mentioned, one of the most accomplished Smite players in the world, and like, could you start off with telling me what's it like to win worlds twice, and which win felt better of the 2 world championships?
Winning worlds felt amazing. It's a really strange feeling. Well, first of all, I guess like the first world championship was actually the very first LAN tournament that I won. I think the only experience before that I had is super regionals.
Yeah.
And it went okay, but we got 2nd place. And the first world championship, it was just so surreal, and I was just so happy that I didn't have to play any more Smite that day. And it's crazy because it's kind of everyone's dream, right? And it's like you have this pure happiness for like at least a week, and you can't even believe what's happening. It's kind of surreal. It's crazy. And if you want to ask me what's like the one that felt better, it's also the first world championship that I won. Mainly because the second one was kind of, I wasn't happy after we won, which is kind of a bad sign. But we went out of the finals, and I'm just thinking, I do not really deserve this, right?
Yeah.
Like I understood that I was not put into a position to perform, some would say, but
yeah.
Personally, I was still really let down with what I did and how my performance impacted the games, and it felt okay because I didn't have to, like, if I lost the second finals, it would have been like super bad, and have to be like here the end of everything, like, oh, Dimi is so bad. So winning kind of prevented that, so I was grateful for that. But the first world championship was a lot more pure and more just pure bliss. So yeah,
I get you. I kind of feel it, right? Because the same happened when we lost our semi-final to United. We also put Celia in a position where he was not meant to win, just like Energy put you in a position where you're not meant to win. And on top of that, at least the older Bay, right, they played around variety. As mentioned, like Twig is gonna get the Hawk, so variety can get TP and just kind of dumps the lane. And I think the same kind of happened this year at Worlds, right? Like, obviously we lost, you guys won, so of course,
we got lucky.
Yeah, I mean, your strat worked out better, right? I think that's the main thing. But just a little general, like, off the topic here. I think in general, it's important at big tournaments for like everyone. If someone is like severely not underperforming, but like on the farm, they're on the level, that is probably a part of the team strategy, and that doesn't necessarily mean that X person destroyed Y person. It means that X team made had to take a sacrifice, right? And they made sure that, okay, well, now Dimi gets a bit screwed over, but then we can have a super fed adapting. It's a trade-off, right? Where Obey will watch
it's really
the different.
easy. just looking at gods mainly. Like you see, like if someone's playing Amaterasu, you don't expect them to get 5 levels ahead. And then if you, I mean, on the same side, if you see someone go a hyper carry and then fall behind, then you know that, I mean, that is not intentional and the strat is not working out. But
exactly.
yes, most of the time it should be planned.
So that was the Worlds, right? But there was obviously time before Worlds. If you guys don't know, Dimi and I have also teamed together back on Team Toast.
Team Toast.
Worth Gaming, the good old days. Yeah, what's your story like, Dimi? How did you start? How did you get into Smite?
Yeah, it's kind of a really strange start because I've told this many times, but I've never really tried to get into professional Smite. I always just like try to have fun, and then people asked me because I was playing well, and I ended up joining teams. I ended up benching myself again, saying I'm not good enough, I'm not deserving this, and then I was on sub spots for teams because I never want to play main roster. I was like, I'm not good enough for this. So I was playing on the sub spots and I was having a good time there. And at some point, it was New Year's Eve, and I got the team offer from what was the name back then? I don't even know anymore. It was like Serious Or. That was the clan tag, and which ended up being Epsilon Esports, or like Panthera as you like. And I got the offer to try out for the team, and I was like so torn. And my good friend back then goes by the name of Ninja Bobat. You might still know him. Some of the people out there. He told me, he's like, yeah, that is a good roster, man, go for it. I was like, all right, I'll trust you in this. So I started playing. Actually ended up trying out for mid lane first, but I was okay. I actually want to play mid lane, but I was like, all right, put him solo. I'm fine with that. I don't mind. So yeah, that's where it all began really. And we wanted to get into the SPL as Panthera, and it didn't work. We lost. Really, it was unfortunate how it went down, but we lost the qualifiers. So we went to the Challenger Cup. Took us a long while, and then we made it to the SPL, and we had like a really kind of mediocre performance at first. And then I think in the fall split, we kind of turned up, and it just ramped up towards Worlds, and felt amazing. And after we won Worlds, they asked like, all right, we're doing this again? And I didn't believe it. I was like, yeah, I mean, sure, 2 World Championships, right? Who does that, right? Like, and then we got lucky again, and we did it. And yeah, it's kind of mostly it. Yeah.
What about this season, right? Obviously, this season has been kind of harsh on you. I think
last season.
Yeah.
Or like,
oh yeah. Well, yeah. Season 4. This. Yeah. I'm still stuck in season 4 just because we haven't begun yet. I think we should have played our first match like on Tuesday, but then they delayed it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that might have been.
Yeah, we should have. We should have played Rival. God damn it! I see. That's my excuse. Okay, Dimi. Season 4 was obviously very harsh on you. I think that like a lot of people was talking about. Oh well, we always blessed Dimi to the skies. He was this amazing tier player. Blah blah blah. And now he's just getting outclassed or whatever. Like, you obviously don't have to talk this if you don't want to. But like,
no, I'm fine.
Do you think you ever hit a wall of like a burnout when it came to season 4? Like, obviously you got removed from the roster as far as I understand it. I don't know if that was like a.
That's true.
Yeah. Did you want to keep playing at that point, or did you like hit this kind of burnout wall that you also mentioned a bit at like Worlds season 3?
Well, it's not. Well, burnout walls are an interesting topic because you never know when they happen. It mostly happens when you don't enjoy the game or you're forced to play in a meta where you just can't do what you want to do, and as a turn ends up with you not enjoying the game. And the less you enjoy the game, the more likely you are to hit a burnout.
Yeah.
Talking back to when I was removed from the roster, however, that was right after DreamHack Valencia, which was it was a rough time for me personally. I had some stuff going on in my personal life. Wasn't that great. And we lost that tournament, and I felt really bad. And that was for the first time that I actually felt the drive that I wanted to win again. Because I've not really been a person that's like super hype. Sorry for that. Super hype on like winning and like being the best. But then I felt like I want to prove that I am still one of the top players, and I wanted to keep on going. And there've been tryouts, and the team made the decision, and I just kind of took it. I was like, I had the opportunity to try out for other teams, but I was thinking, okay, I kind of have education coming up. I have to do an internship, and it's just so much stuff going on. So I went to coach, and then after that, I couldn't do coaching anymore either.
Yeah, because Hirez,
Just
obviously.
Harris, obviously, but yeah, I don't know.
What?
Burnouts are something you need to avoid.
Yeah. Okay. So that's actually kind of contradicting, I guess, when you actually got removed, that you kind of hit this. Now I actually really want to win, right? Because
Yeah.
I feel that as well. Honestly, as soon as we didn't perform at Worlds, I've never
Gets you,
felt
man.
more motivated. You know.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes it gets you.
Oh yeah, well sure, and I know that was kind of the same, right? What I guess I can mention that, like, when I got approached by these NRG players, they're like, "Yo, EmilZy, do you wanna give this a shot? Let us know." The drive they had when they talked about it, like how this is our first ever Worlds, we lost, and we never want to lose again, right? And they kind of come up to you
Yeah,
and just
that's energy.
and tell you, and Emil's like, Nils, I'm never losing Worlds again, like, and just them having that confidence, and you can feel the drive, you can feel the fire, right? It's kind of like slowly burning, and I was just like, okay, I kind of gotta do this, and obviously, I think this has been announced by the time this is out. We're in Spain now. That was also a big part of the reason. In Spain, this is the last video I'm making from my home. It's kind of sad. But let's get back to the topic of burnouts. Is there anything you could like recommend for like not burning out? I know obviously there's the obvious answer, right? With, well, take a break, go somewhere, take a little vacation.
Yeah.
But if you feel like super burned out, you've been playing, let's say you're an aspiring pro, you've been playing ranked for 8 hours a day, you're trying out for teams, but no one is recognizing you, and you've done it for half a year now, and you just don't see it happening anymore. What's like, how do you make sure that you don't just smash headfirst into that wall?
That is something that is kind of hard for me to grasp because when I hit burnout, which happened to me like once or twice, while like high gameplay times where I was constantly playing the game, but I've never hit burnout when I was trying to get pro. I've never had burnout before that. I feel like if you already hit burnout before you make it pro, it's going to be really tough for you, right? Obviously, preventing burnout is something that can be done by simply having a different approach to the game. So there's people that put 110% into the game, playing ranked every day and trying their hardest. Maybe that's not the right way to do it, like to go about it if you're having a burnout. Maybe you want to take a step back, just like play more assault, something more relaxed, or take a different approach to the ranks and actually try to play fun gods, or like, I'm not going to say troll, right? But just have a different approach to the game and see if that works out for you. There's not too much you can do for burnout. You just kind of hope it fades away, and sometimes the meta shifts, and it comes back to you, and you gotta wait for that.
Yeah, so I guess like if you're like hitting that wall and it's 1 week until like a big patch in between the different splits.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't burn yourself all the way out, right? Yeah. Looking back, Dimi, on your days as a pro, is there anything that you like regret or you would like to change about like yourself or your, obviously maybe your own performance or something? Is there any particular point where like, oh yeah, this specific thing I really wanted that to change if I could?
It's kind of a rough question, right? Because there's been so much happening. I don't think I can really regret anything, just because I've had the opportunity to win and like just do so much within the pro scene that I feel like I don't have the privilege to regret anything. For specific like moments, I wouldn't quite know. Obviously, there's like the occasional game where it's like, I regret walking up at 3 minutes because I know the jungle is there.
Oh yeah.
But super basic stuff, but that's like tiny stuff. That's like on a game per game basis. On a larger scale, I think maybe I would have loved to leave the scene on my own choice as a player.
Yeah.
That's something I like. It's a tiny regret, but I don't really care about that. So
Yeah.
I'm feeling pretty good.
They're always humble, Dimi. I like
Yeah.
it. You gotta keep the style. It's good. Now, Dimi, obviously after you even like couldn't coach anymore, NRG, because you became a Hirez employee, blah blah blah. Hirez invited you over as an analyst, right?
Yeah.
So a bit take the analyst classes on, right? Can you give me a good grasp of what's a good talent? What does a good talented player look like to you? Is it a mechanical beast? Is it someone that has good communication? Or is it someone that's just all around a nice guy? What is like the perfect up and coming for you?
Well, raw mechanics is it sounds so simple and so plain, but raw mechanics is something that if you have this at the start, kind of gives me a tell of how much you can improve as a player. Surely you need to be a person that can teamwork.
Yeah.
You need to be a person that works in a team environment. If you're an ego player, that's fine. You need to find a team with like less egos so that you don't have 5 egos in a team. So as long as you get to balance it, that's fine. But mechanics is kind of what is to me the key requirement if you want to be a pro. Because like you said, I was an analyst and it's really hard for me to call out who the players are that are making the calls. Like I can't tell really raw talent from just watching the game if I don't know who's doing the shot calls.
Yeah.
It was I think it was like a console set that was analyzing, and they made a really smart call at the Phoenix Siege. And that's like next level stuff that I wouldn't expect to see out of PC players either. And like it was crazy good, but I wouldn't know how to like who to attribute it to. Like I didn't know who made the call, so just looking at gameplay, I can only judge by mechanical plays. So
yeah,
that's kind of the dream.
Yeah, I get that. So when you're looking at good mechanics, is it just hitting abilities, or is it like game sense as well? Does that count?
It's hitting abilities and knowing when to use abilities and when not to. Like you can, if you hit a flawless Uller combo on the tank, sure, that's great. But it's also like playing position, right? That's kind of what. Like positioning is something else, but it kind of ties in with mechanics and game sense to me.
Yeah.
It's just like this kind of like an entity of being a good Smite player, right? And yeah, I mean, also reading opponents. Reading opponents is important. It's knowing how to read a juke, and obviously some pro players, they don't juke, so it's hard, but just like anticipating your opponent is good.
Yeah.
Smart.
I get that. The no juke is always the best.
The no juke, yeah, it's terrible. I hate it. Just don't know what's happening.
Okay, so I think one of the things where you can be a lot more insightful than a lot of the others, because obviously they are still in teams and still need to keep all doors open. Not saying you don't have to either, but what's a good team environment like? Let's talk a bit about team environments. What is a really good team environment like for you?
A good team environment is a team environment where you can get feedback, all of the feedback you want, and you can discuss it in a kind of like human fashion without anyone kind of taking offense, and just being able to work through issues well. And also team environment, whereas if there's any issues with a team, they will never be brought up inside of the game, because that kind of kills you as a team.
Yeah.
Also, obviously, if you want to have a team that succeeds, a team environment that succeeds, it needs to be people that you can kind of be friends with. The better you are friends with the people you play with, the better you synergize, and the more you want to play with each other, and you kind of fuel on each other, and it's really great. So that's what's most important. I've not been on too many teams, right? Like I've been on NRG/Epsilon. I've been on smaller like amateur teams way back in the day. But
Team Toast, come on, man.
Team Toast. But yeah, you want to have people that you want to play with. That is important. And if they're good as well, it's like a double plus.
Yeah. So obviously, like I'm mentioning team environment, because that's pros, right? That's actually one of the things that really matters. Sure, if you're kind of jumping ship at a challenger scene, which I don't think that's that bad at all. I think it's okay if you're an aspiring pro that you're always like trying to jump up to the next level, right? Get with a bit of a better team, but essentially you're gonna hit a wall. I feel like where you just have to kind of settle down with this team and then prove yourself as a team, and that might prove you as a player as well, right? What like how important is a good team environment if you have to be together for like a year? Because that's the SPL contract right now.
Yeah, it is the single most important thing, I can tell you that. Like, if you're all individually amazing players, but at some point down the road, you're not on the same page, because the one guy wants that, the other guy wants that, which is what also kind of happened with me in NRG, right? I was doing education back then, and they weren't. They wanted to all in, and I was like, I was still along for the ride, but it was a kind of a conflict of interest at some point. Yeah, you want to be on the same page, and if you're on the same page and if you get along, that is the single most important thing. Because even if you're like performing well and you're a top team, if you don't have an amazing team environment, you're not gonna keep up for the long run, and that's where you'll fall. So something that's like, you just have to either get lucky or kind of get a good sense for like human interaction and know who you can work with.
Exactly. I think that's one of the big things as well, right? Where the casual player might get really confused when someone like Snoopy said, I want to play with friends, right? You'd be like, oh, that's a bullshit excuse. But I myself as well, I wouldn't have seen myself joining NRG if I thought that I could not work out well with these guys. Same kind of like goes for Bay, right? Like, now I've signed a 1-year contract, and now I gotta stay here. Now I'm hanging up on Knut and Emil and Andre and all the fucking boys.
I feel bad for you, man.
And Xiao as well, man. His what's it called, the voice board thing where he like makes sounds. The little soundboard? Oh, the soundboard, yeah. He has one that's like, hello guys, welcome to this YouTube, which is basically me. So he's soundboarding me in scrims. It's super, super fun.
Yeah, that's fun. Like, you need that.
Yeah, well, it's fun, right? Like, sure, I'm like, oh, come on, Joe, but that's bonding, right? Talking about like, yeah, go ahead.
Like, it's a job, right? Like, it's a 1-year contract, you're making money, it's your profession, it's a job.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you also have to make sure that you're still having fun. Like what you just said, like soundboards, just like trolling each other, or like just good stuff like that, because it's so healthy for the team environment. You want that. If that's not happening, and every day you just show up, it's like, all right, guys, try hard time, just play your games, and after scrims, you kind of just disband again.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
This is not a team environment. This is just like, it's showing up for the hours on the job and then leaving, and that's not gonna get you very far.
That's like one of the big things I felt as well. Like the exact thing you mentioned here is, sure, you show up for scrims and you're having fun while you're there, and then your coach finishes off with, well, we can improve here and here, and then you just kind of all head off, and then maybe you play ranked with your ADC like for a few hours, and then you talk to them again in the end. But yeah, that was like way back. I've had that issue, right, where people just kind of left. Obey was nice, but energy, I think, for me is like, I don't know if it was the same for you, but they just sit in that goddamn Discord channel, a TeamSpeak server, for like 2 hours after scrims, and they just troll around and like, hey, look at this, like, this clip is so funny, yeah. Do you want to play Assault, you know, whatever it is. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, it's really important. I think they're like, especially like that when it's like when they're having fun, right? Like, if everyone's tilted after scrims, chances are they like, if you're having a week of rough scrims,
yeah, obviously.
I wouldn't be surprised if I see people leaving fairly quickly because they have to play like RuneScape or I don't know. All right, that was a nice one. A bad example here.
He almost beat Inferno now, by the way.
I think almost getting that cape, getting the Dragon Slayer Elfbane.
He's like, I've been having nightmares about this. Pocket, man. You like having a super rough scrim, you know, can't like, you've been sieging for 30 minutes, just can't break the base, get wiped, and you lose. And then, you know, Emil just goes, who wants to play Monopoly? And you're like, yo, Emil, I really don't want to play the Monopoly with you, because A, you cheat, and B, this is not the time. But okay, team environments. What can you do to create a good team environment? What's like a good few ground rules, I guess?
That's a rough question, actually. Well, I think a coach can help a lot. Making sure that team environment flows. Obviously, a coach can be a variety of things. It can be a numbers guy, but it can also be like a human interaction kind of guy that knows how people work. That can kind of take tension out of situations, that can just ease the entire team environment. But then again, like, one person can only do so much. The personalities have to mesh, and if you want to create a good team environment from scratch, obviously, like you said, playing with friends is like the obvious answer. But if you're only playing with friends, you might not be playing with the top caliber of players you need to be playing with. So you need to find a balance, and I think that's the roughest part. I think that's where I got super lucky when I found Epsilon. Or it's just sometimes you get the right people, and I think it's a lot to like. Sometimes you have to give people a chance, right? Like when I was starting out with them, I was talking to Emilito for that reference, because I'm talking to another Emil right now. And it was just so weird. I was like, what is going on with this guy? And I didn't really like him. I was like, what is this? Is he trolling me? He's definitely trolling me. Like, why is he trolling me all the time? And like, I feel like going through the months and seasons, you kind of like became the person I bonded with the most on the team. So just like giving people a shot and talking to them, and not like running away from the team too early because you're saying, okay, this might not be working. Definitely like make sure to give it a try for a longer while.
Yeah, I get you as well. When Maniac left for NRG, and we had to find a new soul laner, Twig came in one day and he was like, what about Celia? He's been playing ranked on his stream. He never played ranked before. Should we pick him up?
No, right?
And I was the guy that was like the most against it. I instantly went, I'm not playing with that whiner. Code end, right?
Yeah.
And the rest of the team is like, Prime's like, he's kind of a whiner. And Nate's like, I don't know, man. Hirez is like kind of sitting there grinning, you know? And so he's like, he's actually really good. And
gotta give him a chance.
I went, and I already said no. But I was like, okay, maybe I gotta give it a chance. I went and I actually talked to Celia and I played a few games with him. There was some contestant like him, and this is not knowledge, by the way. Me and Twig talked about this in like an interview at Super Regionals, but him and No Numbers were kind of fighting over the spot. And I went and talked to Celia, and I was honestly like, why? He's not, well, sure, he might be like, where is my blue? Like once every 50th game, but
can't win without pressure.
But like, I think I had so many like prejudices about him, right? And I just sit there and talk to him. He's this super cool guy, and honestly I think he was a super great addition to my team, because I hit like hard rock bottom after Maniac left. I was like, oh well, that's it, that's fucking Rip World. We just had a rough dream hack. Maniac's gone now, Dimi is retiring. We're like, what do we do, you know? And we knew that No Numbers had to go to the military, so like that's not long term as well, so it's super rough for us. But like just giving people a chance is honestly so good. So that's about building up team environments. What can you do to improve an environment? Maybe you've played with the same team for like 4 or 5 months now. You feel like things are getting a bit stalled. You're hitting this period of just kind of meeting in for scrims and going out, and maybe a few people bond on the team, but nothing is really happening. What can you do to improve that?
Kind of like just do things as a team that is not Smite, right? One of the best things to do, personally, in my opinion, is playing like Pintarillo or like Draw My Thing, like whatever you know it as, which is basically just like drawing pictures and guessing. It's like, it's just simple, funny games that are easy to get into, and just like you just have like good interactions, right? And it's just good fun. So you can do that before scrims to kind of boost morale, and then going into scrims. About like boosting morale as well, like sometimes you'll be playing with a team and you are not really drafting to win. Sometimes you need to draft to win in scrims to kind of get the winning mentality back, to boost the morale, to then get the team environment back into a position where you can actually work with it. So you kind of need to identify where your issue stems from, and sometimes it's actually just one player that's kind of dragging the team environment down, and you'll realize that when there's, let's say, always 4 people on the Discord/TeamSpeak, and you'll kind of realize that, well, things are falling apart inside the game as well, and you just know, hey, maybe try someone else that is more likely to give 110%.
All right, well, lastly here, I ask everyone this, and everyone is like, I can't give you one answer. What's your best single advice to an aspiring pro?
All right, you have the honest answer, and the answer that is the second best way. The honest answer and the best way is to get lucky. because there's so many things to it, so many intricacies, so many different variables that sometimes you have to get lucky. The second best way is to give it all you can, because really that's all you can do, right? Like, you want to play the game as much as you can. You want to play ranked and get recognized. We have an example right now. I think it's Adaptwig / Who the Best on the European servers, who's been just putting in so many hours into the game. He's been playing so well. He's learning the meta for himself. He's been bringing the Bracer into mid lane, just for the fun of it. And that person has not been seen as this great of a player beforehand, right? Like, he's been just a normal, like, diamond pleb, you know? And he's been put so many hours, so much effort. People recognizing him. Like, people... I'm pretty sure this guy will end up on a team sooner or, like, later this year. And you can be that person too, right? You just gotta step it up for yourself, give it everything, and honestly, that's all you can do. And from there on out, I hope it works out for you. And after that, win worlds. I don't know.
That's good advice right there. Win worlds. Bam. I like it. Win worlds, and you might become a pro.
Yeah.
No, I really like that, and I think Adaptwig as well. Inside information, he has had some offers from SPL teams for like substitute positions, which has like even included salaries. And I think he even said no to them because he wanted to be main roster, right? But that just proves if you put in the hours, you can get to that level. And I think I talked with DM about it as well, right? He was like, Smite is the easiest game probably to go pro in. If you look at like the player base and the amount of money there is, and if you have played it for a while and you just put in half a year, put in like 8 hours a day, you're gonna get somewhere, honestly, if you have the right mentality, right? All right. Is there anything you go ahead, sorry.
Like I said, you have to get lucky, but at the same time, like you put it, it is kind of realistic if you do put the effort. And something that I also want to touch upon is kind of motivation. You've been talking or like mentioning it earlier on the example of NRG. Like, you have the 3 Swedes, and they're just so hungry to win. I'm pretty sure they're like one of the like most driven people in the scene when it comes to like achieving things and winning games. And you have to ask yourself, if you want to go pro, what do you do it for? If you do it for fame, that's fine. If you do it for money, that's also fine. But if you want to go for the long run, and if you actually want to have the best chances, I think you want to have the intentions of actually winning and like going as far as you can with that.
Yeah, that's good. Well, do you have anything else you want to touch upon? Anything else you want to
add? To that topic, I don't think so. I think
anything at all here as we're rounding off? You think we haven't touched upon, or anything you want to mention?
Let me think about this for a second. That's kind of tough, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I think I'm good.
All right.
Right.
Are we gonna see you as a pro player again, Dimi? Are you gonna return?
Wow.
Ninja Dimi.
Ask the question. I personally don't think so. I don't think it's healthy for me, and I don't think it's a lifestyle that fits me. I personally do love traveling, and I do love doing something around fans and like being this personality. It's really awesome. But playing the game and dealing with all the stress around it at LANs, online, it took a huge toll on me. And I just now realized it after so many months of not playing. I just realized that it's actually really healthy for me to not be in that position where I can kind of become like a really stressed out person. So maybe some things change in the future. Maybe I'm having too much fun with the game.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I have to play pro again. But for now, that's my statement, and I don't really know.
All right. On that note, we'll end. And Dimi, I want to thank you so much for being on the show, How to Go Pro. I'm glad you wanted to come on here. Like, again, one of the most accomplished players, analyst, everything, Hirez employee as well. Can like only and coach as well, right? Yeah, you have it all. I'm just gonna stand up and leave. You could probably host the show, but I hope you guys at home enjoyed this episode of How to Go Pro. This was the 5th one. If you did, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell. And until next time, everyone, peace out. Cut.